Hello everyone, welcome to my new lecture series on insect pests of crops. Previously, I had completed two lecture series. One is on fundamentals of entomology and second one is on insect systematics lecture series. In fact, through those two lecture series, we could able to understand that there are more than 10 lakh species of insects have been described on this planet Earth. There is a very high diversity. But not all those 10 lakh species of insects will attack our crop. Okay, so name any crop usually, okay, less than 100, say usually less than 5 or 6 species of insects may cause damage. So remaining of them may act as minor pests. So in this no lecture series, I'm going to cover important crops grown in India, important pests which attack our crops at different age of these crops, whether they are minor, they are major, what is their biology, what is their ecology, how to manage them. Because many times, with a poor understanding of insects, we depend on insecticides for the management of these pests. Okay, so there is a lot of negative consequences due to depending on these insecticides. If you spray more insecticide, so we consume a lot of insecticides through the food we consume. Because of that, there is a great necessity of understanding about these insects in order to successfully manage them. So if you depend more on insecticides, there will be a lot of negative consequences, and one such example has been given here. So maybe you have heard of one train which is famously now known as cancer train, which runs from Bathinda to Bikaner. Okay, we know that Punjab is a rich state with farmers grows varieties of crops. Okay, and extensive cultivation has led to the use of lot of insecticides, and that is actually backstabbing them, the farmers. Okay, so in fact, in this train, okay, more than 60% of its population are cancer patients who runs from Bathinda to Bikaner in order to get good treatment in Bikaner, in one of the best hospitals. Okay, so the reason attributed to this problem, the cancer patients, is actually because of the pesticide, the high pesticide usage in this state of India. Okay, so in fact, they get no good treatment in one of the hospitals in Bikaner. As a result, they come and queue like this and get treatment. But this is not the solution. What is the solution then? Okay, so we need to now understand more about insects in order to manage them. So pesticides is the usage of pesticides is not the solution for managing the insects. Okay, so there is a the great deal of information to be obtained in order to successfully manage them. So what are the information, knowledge required to manage the insects which attack our crops? So there are many things which needs to be known. Okay, so few of the things which I am listing here are identification of the pest, correct diagnosis of the pest is important, types of damage these insects causes, their life cycle, their distribution, mobility and capacity to reinfestate, host range, habit and its habitat, natural mortality factor. Okay, so many things. So which are all the hosts on which these insects occurs, whether it is a monophagus, whether it's a polyphagus, okay, whether it is a sucking pest, whether it is a biting and chewing type of insects. Okay, so there are many such things. For example, okay, even no rainfall is enough to remove large number of population from the crop. There is no need of no spraying insecticides under such condition. Okay, so that's why so a lot of things to be known in order to manage them. So one best thing to be known in order to manage the pest is understanding their biology. Okay, which stage actually causes damage, which species it is. Say for example, grasshopper, which species of grasshopper, what is its biology, what is its ecology. Okay, whether nymph or the adult, both of them will cause damage. Okay, or say for example, so whether no larvae will cause the damage or the adult will cause the damage. Okay, so all those such informations are very important in order to manage the insects. Okay, so when actually we succeeds in pest management, when we follow all the available management strategies, that means scientists with lot of research come out with a detailed procedures in order to manage the pests. So what are the available strategies? All the available strategies should be employed for successful management. That we call it as IPM. Okay, and similarly, so whatever the IPM strategies which has been developed should be used on community basis. Okay, if you use any one technology, may not be useful. And if all the farmers of that particular area, okay, panchayat wise, taluk wise, district wise, okay, if they employ on community basis, the pest management becomes very easy. Okay, so that's why there is a very much important need of understanding the biology and ecology of pest. So that's what I'm going to cover in this course. Okay, so types of damage caused by the insects in general and their diagnosis, crop-wise discussion on the pest complex, rice, maize, sugarcane, coconut, arecanut, for example. Okay, so like that, I'll be covering the important crops, important pests, their biology, their ecology, their nature of damage. Okay, and then management strategies available. So that's what I'm going to cover in this course. Okay, so as a first part of this course, in the first lecture, I'm going to talk about types of damage caused by these insects and the damage symptoms. Okay, so there is a very much need of understanding how actually these insects cause damage. So then only we can able to design the management strategies. Say for example, many times you may find the insects feeding on that particular part of the plant, or you may not find the insects at all. Okay, so but they just express a lot of symptoms. Based on those symptoms, we should diagnose which insect might have caused this type of damage. So then only we can think of, so which insect has caused damage, what is their biology, what is their ecology, how to manage it. Okay, so that's why understanding about insects is very much important. So many times you will not find the insects on plants. Okay, how do you recognize, how do you diagnose? So why these symptoms are produced? Okay, which insect has caused this damage? Okay, so these symptoms are due to insects or disease or deficiency. Of course, this type of things actually comes with experience. So that's why, so in this basic course I'll try to cover, okay, all these important things a graduate should know in order to go to the field and identify the problems and help the farmers. So in order to know the types of damage, so we should classify the insects based on feeding damage or the injury they cause. So one type of classification is based on the position of feeding, whether they feed externally or internally. Any particular part, for example, whether it is a seed or a stem or a fruit, whether they feed externally or they feed internally. So they can be placed as defoliators or skeletonizers, leaf webbers, leaf folders, okay, root feeders, pod or capsule borers or bollworms. Okay, if you know the phenotype of the crops, it's very easy to understand these terminologies. Piercing and sucking insects, they are found externally on the plant parts and cause the damage, sucks the juice. Rasping and sucking. So they are all external feeders, and many of them are internal feeders. They found internally in the particular part of the plant and then they feed. Stem borers, shoot borers, leaf miners, gall makers, pod capsule borers or bollworms. Okay, some of them are external, some of them are internal feeders. Fruit borers, bark borers, tree borers, seed feeders. Okay, they are found outside the plant parts, a particular part of the plant, particular product of the plant. Okay, or they may found internally. They are considered as internal feeders. The second type of classification of insects based on the feeding damage they cause is based on the type of mouth parts and the feeding habits. Okay, basically we know that there are two types of mouth parts among the different insects groups. One is on biting, one is biting and chewing type of mouth parts, and second one is piercing and sucking type of mouth parts. Okay, those insects which have got biting and chewing type of mouth parts acts as stem borers, shoot borers, leaf miners, gall makers, pod, capsule or bollworms, fruit borers, bark borers, tree borers, seed feeders, or they may act as defoliators or skeletonizers. Some of them act as leaf webbers, leaf folders, root feeders, scraping and gnawing of the base of the stem. Okay, they are all insects with biting and chewing type of mouth parts. Okay, some of the insects act as piercing and sucking type of insects. They have got very different type of mouth parts. Okay, wherein proboscis is modified in order to suck the juice. So they may cause hopper burn, discoloration, curling of the leaves, necrosis on leaf margin, and rasping and sucking insects like thrips, which cause whitish mottles or silvery appearance. And some of the insects like moths, okay, have got siphoning or simple sucking type of mouth parts. And some of them, like gall midges, have got a not so well developed or degenerative type of mouth parts. They do cause damage. Okay, so in this lecture one of this lecture series, I'm going to talk about How actually these biting and chewing type of insects cause damage? What are the symptoms you notice when you visit a field? Okay, so examples of mouth parts, basically chewing and piercing and sucking type of mouth parts. So insect mouth parts are highly specialized for feeding. So why these variation in the mouth parts? It's actually specialization in order to get the food, okay, in different parts of the plant. Okay, in order to exploit that particular niche which is available as food resource. And mouth parts of immature insects many times differ from an adult. Okay, for example, a butterfly larvae, for example, okay, a moth larvae. So larvae will have the biting and chewing type of mouth parts, where the adults will have got siphoning type of mouth parts. Okay, very different. Whereas it may be same in many insects, both nymphs and adults will have same type of mouth parts. Okay, so I'm going to talk about chewing and biting insects in this lecture one. So biting and chewing insects may be lepidopteran caterpillars like this, as shown in these photographs, or coleopterans. Okay, they all have got biting and chewing type of mouth parts, including grasshoppers. So they belongs to order Orthoptera. So or they may be piercing and sucking insects. They may be leafhoppers, thrips, whiteflies, aphids, mealybugs. Okay, most of these emitterans. And also Thysanopterans will have this sucking type of mouth parts. Okay, so why to understand this feeding mechanism? So in fact, the type of insecticides which we use, okay, depends on the type of mouth parts these insects possess. Okay, so why different type of insecticides are used in order to manage different type of insects? Okay, so there is a question for you. So I'm going to talk about the first group, chewing and biting type of insects in this lecture. So one is stem borers. Okay, as the name itself indicates, so here in this case, most of the time larvae enter into the stem and feed on the internal content. Okay, there is a plant. Okay, so the larvae enters into the stem region and feeds on the internal content. So as a result, what happens? The translocation of the food which moves to the upper part of the plant get affected. Okay, that leads to the part above the damaged part actually wilts, dries up, and exhibits symptoms like dead art. Okay, so dead art, you can see here, the affected tillers in case of paddy are dried, wilted. These type of symptoms are called dead art. So it may be paddy, it may be maize or sugarcane, any other crop, for example. So usually such stem borers cause this type of dead art. So larvae usually makes a wall somewhere and enters, and usually you may find the frass extruding from the wall, bored wall. Okay, or it may be many other stem borer. It may be lepidopteran caterpillar or a grub of a coleoptera. Okay, so most of the time, so stem borer causes this type of dried or wilted symptoms on the above ground part of that plant where it is actually damaged. Okay, then second one is shoot borer. So instead of main stem, shoots or branches may be attacked. Those are called shoot borers. Larvae attack tender shoots or bore inside during vegetative stage of the crop. Okay, this also causes wilting, drooping of the terminal shoots. Okay, like this. You can see here, small wool is found on this brinjal crop. From there it enters and feed on the internal content. So that leads to drooping or wilting of that part. Okay, very characteristic, which is found in brinjal, cotton, castor, and many other crops. Then defoliators or skeletonizers. So like this, you'll find these caterpillars or the grasshoppers or beetles. Okay, so they entirely feeds on the leaves, leaving only midribs and vines. Sometimes that part, midribs and vines, are also eaten away. Or sometimes they just scrape the chlorophyll content. Okay, that leads to skeletonization. So most larvae of lepidopterans, beetles, grasshoppers, okay, like castor semilooper, ash weevils, like this one, Spodoptera, which is considered as tobacco caterpillar or cutworm, many chrysomelid beetles causes this type of symptoms. Okay, so it is called skeletonization. Okay, when larvae or the grubs or whatever, they just scrapes the green matter. Okay, leaving the mesh-like appearance. If you keep the plant part, so at sunlight you will find the mesh-like appearance. Okay, so this is called skeletonization. Very clear actually. So early stars of Spodoptera or T skeletonizer, Hyblia pura. So many other insects may cause this type of skeletonization. So this class tried to expose you to the different terminologies. Okay, these insects causes, so that you can generalize wherever you find this type of damage. Leaf miner. Okay, probably all of you have seen in the backyard or many other crops, you might have seen the minings on various crops, cucurbit, tomato, like that. So usually the grubs or the larvae mine the leaves. That means they remain between the leaf lamina and feed on the epidermal layers, leaving the this type of marking on various crops. Okay, serpentine leaf minor in various crops, groundnut leaf minor in groundnut. Okay, so very common symptoms we notice. So if you prepare a herbarium out of such an infested part, you can find this type of minings. Okay, whitish lines. This is called leaf miners. Or sometimes some of the grubs or the caterpillars actually, instead of moving like this, they remain in one place and feed on that. So that leads to appearance of whitish blotches. So you can see here. So whitish blotches appears on that damaged part. So there it's called leaf miners. It is called leaf blotches. Leaf webbers, the next type. So larvae actually folds number of leaves together and stays within and feed on that content. Okay, and those webbings are usually mixed with a lot of excreta, frass get accumulated. Okay, and express this type of symptoms on mango, ginger leaf, groundnut, or many others, various crops. Okay, so even fecal pellets, frass are found within that web. Very common symptoms you can see here. Those are called leaf webbers or leaf folders. Okay, leaf folder is usually the insect actually folds the edges of the leaf and folds and feed on the scrapes the green matter on that particular leaf portion. Okay, so that's called leaf folder. That is the difference between leaf webbing and leaf folding. Okay, so number of leaves are webbed. Here are usually single leaf is actually folded. So found in rice leaf folder, cotton leaf roller. You can see the bell-shaped structure in the cotton, or it may be in the rice. For example, how beautifully you can it's constructing the folds. You can see here this caterpillar. Okay, you can see here it is actually with the help of silken thread. It is holding the edges of the leaf, and as that silken thread actually starts drying up, leaf actually starts folding. Okay, so as a result, it actually makes shelter and stays within and scrapes the green matter. Okay, so how beautifully it's constructing, you can see here. Very beautiful indeed. So after some time, that silken thread actually starts drying. So it leads to sinking. Okay. Yeah, very fast. You can see folded and larvae is staying inside. So it gets protection from the natural enemies. It may be parasites or a predator. So it's a natural defense mechanism this insect has developed. It may take an hour, for example, in this case. Yes, so done. Yes, it is stayed inside successfully. Okay, that's how it actually folds. So next one is gall makers. So many of the insects actually which have got degenerative type of mouth parts, in fact. Okay, so they feed, and wherever they actually feed, okay, they exude a sort of growth promoters that leads to multiplication or cell proliferation that leads to formation of galls like this. Okay, so many of these gall midges which belongs to family Cestomidae in Diptera, or even many of the lepidopterans, even weevils, curculinids also causes this type of galls on various crops, rice. Okay, in case of mango, in case of tobacco, cotton, many crops, this type of galls are found. Okay, so if they attack other parts, leaves and other things is okay. Sometimes the economical part, sometimes some of the produce which are actually exported have got this type of damage, means these insects will become quarantine importance. Here in this case, you can see here the gall midges causing galls on mango fruit. So in India, I actually export a lot of mangoes. So that's why so there is a great deal of understanding the identification and biology and ecology of these insects. Next one is pod, capsule borers or bollworms. So larvae enter into the pods, capsule and feed. Okay, so the pod, depending on the crop attacked, so these terminologies are used. Okay, spotted pod borer, capsule borer in case of castor and gengili, tobacco caterpillar, gram caterpillar. So many of them are actually polyphagous, like tobacco caterpillar, okay, gram caterpillar. So in fact, so these insects are polyphagous. Sometimes they act as defoliator, and when they actually economical parts comes in that particular crop, they attack such parts. Okay, so that's why they act as pod borers, capsule borers. Sometimes in cotton, for example, they act as bollworms. Okay, so various symptoms are noticed. So we concentrate wherever actually these insects comes and attacks. Then fruit borers, okay, very common. So many of these fruits are highly susceptible to various insects. Okay, probably you've experienced when you cut the brinjal fruits. Okay, you find the this type of decayed part. That is actually because of the fruit borers. Okay, you can see here, or even case of tomato, you find these bored walls. So those are considered as fruit borers. In various crops, you'll find this type of boring activity of these insects. Bark borers. So they remain externally, but they actually move through the bark. They remain within the bark, within the frass or galleries, and they feed. Okay, that leads to now the growth of the plant get affected. So bark eating caterpillar in case of citrus, mango, guava, casuarina. Okay, there are a number of species in fact. So we study those things. Tree borers. So many of these insects actually attacks tree or wood of the trees and make these insects get collapsed. Like this mango, you can see here in case of coconut. Okay, so bore into the tree trunk, make the tunnels in zigzag manner and feed on the inner tissues. Okay, as a result of that entire tree may get collapsed. So sometimes you may find the gummy material oozing from these bored wall. So that thereby you can identify which insect might have caused. Tree borers in case of mango, cashew, coconut, red palm will, very serious pest of coconut, like that they are called tree borers. So some of the borers, wood borers, hardwood borers are very minute pests, very small insects. So they make minute holes like this. So as they are very minute, they are called short hole borers. Okay, so these are also very common. In fact, they actually cultivate ambrosia fungus for their offsprings. Then many of these insects are subterranean. They remain within the soil and they feed on the subterranean parts, okay, underground parts of the plant. So many times you'll find only the symptoms on the upper part of the plant. You'll not be knowing how, without seeing the insects, many times it is very difficult to identify the damage. So here the roots are damaged, but symptoms are expressed on the above ground. So that's why so you need to know which pest is actually causing damage. So there may be white grubs, rhizome termites. So they cause very serious damage in various crops like arecanut, for example. So many of these insects, like termites, okay, they remain in soil, make earthen galleries and feed. Okay, wherever the soils are sandy and poorly managed, fields are very susceptible to termite attack. Okay, so sometimes these termites act as beneficial insects, and sometimes they act as very harmful. And sometimes these insects may also attack our stored produce, seeds. Okay, so these seeds may be, so these insects may attack externally or internally. Okay, so they may be leptopterans or coleopterans, like rice weevil, red flower beetle, rice moth. Okay, so many of them are in fact leptopterans and coleopterans. We'll study all those things in this lecture series. Okay, so in this lecture, in the lecture one of this lecture series, so we could able to understand the different terminologies in biting and chewing group of insects. Okay, in the next lecture, that is lecture 1A, I'll be talking about piercing and sucking type of insects and what is the symptoms these insects actually cause. Okay, so before ending, I have a question. So I was telling about different type of insecticides targeted for different type of insects having different mouth parts. Like why we usually use systemic insecticide for insects with sucking mouth parts and contact insecticide for biting and chewing insects. Okay, how actually these insects cause damage? What is their behavior, feeding behavior, whether they move or settle in a single place? That's where the answer actually lies. Try to answer this question. Okay, so thank you very much. If there are any questions, you can post below or you can email me as well. Thank you very much.